Hello everybody and welcome to this Biggerplate welcome webinar. My name is Liam Hughes, I'm the founder of Biggerplate. It's my pleasure to welcome you to this short webinar, quick introduction to the world of Biggerplate and mind mapping. And if you are a new member at Biggerplate, it's especially my pleasure to welcome you to our global mind mapping community. So what I'm going to do for this webinar is just do a very quick presentation. We're going to explore and look around the Biggerplate website a little bit, help you understand what there is for you to engage with, and then of course I'll be here to answer any questions you might have on Biggerplate, mind mapping, the world of software, or whatever it is you might need to know. So I'm just going to hide a couple of things so I can see my screen a little bit better and just check. I can see a few of you on the call already, so thank you very much for joining us today. Always nice to know where people are coming from, so if you want to drop into the questions box who you are and where you're joining from today, that'd be great for me to know. Always nice to see our sort of global community coming into these calls. So let's jump into this mind map then and just cover the territory. So I'm just going to click in here to walk through, and we're going to go bit by bit, and I'm hoping you can all hear me and see me okay. I just can see a couple of people saying hello, so hopefully that's a good sign. So let's have a quick look. So as I say, welcome to this webinar. My name is Liam and I'm the founder of Biggerplate. If you are interested to follow me on Twitter, you can find me there on twitter.com/BiggerplateLiam. You can of course follow the main Biggerplate account, which is just @Biggerplate, and that's another Twitter account. So this webinar is really, as I say, excuse me, a very brief introduction to Biggerplate, and also ideally I will try, if I can, to answer any questions you might have about Biggerplate, about what we are and what we do. And of course, if there's any questions about mind mapping or the world of mind mapping software, I'll also try my best to answer those in this webinar if I can, or if not, I can always follow up with anyone after that. We know that a lot of people discover Biggerplate or come looking for us because they have a lot of questions around the world of mind mapping software. And Biggerplate as a sort of neutral territory is we're able to offer that sort of impartial, independent views on mind mapping, and hopefully that's helpful for you. So let's talk a little bit then about Biggerplate. So Biggerplate was founded or launched, the website was launched rather in 2008. The actual idea for a Mindmap library was back in 2006, and that was when I was at university and I discovered mind mapping software, and it made a huge difference to my ability to study, and really was a total game changer for me. And ever since then, really, we've been trying to build what we now refer to as the home of mind mapping. So Biggerplate primarily focuses on three things to do with mind mapping. We cover a lot of other things, but this is a sort of the focus for us is templates, tutorials, and training. So I'm going to talk a little bit about each of those in just a moment and go in a bit more depth of what we mean. But it's very important, especially for people who are new to Biggerplate, to understand the following thing. Biggerplate does not make software. A lot of people will message us and saying, I've installed your software and it can't do this. It's a little bit of confusion. Sometimes people confuse Biggerplate with software vendors, software companies, but Biggerplate does not make any mind mapping software, and we do not sell or resell any mind mapping software. So we are a sort of software neutral, software agnostic. We work with all of the world's leading mind mapping software companies. We have great partnerships with them, but we don't make software and we don't sell software. So we can give you an independent view on the world of mind mapping software, but we just have to try and help people understand that Biggerplate is a little bit different to mind mapping software. Biggerplate is really based on a very simple membership structure, and again, hopefully, I assume many of you joining the call today are now members of Biggerplate of different varieties. So we've got two types of membership. So basic, which is what most people will take and use and get great use out of, is our free membership. So it's basic membership is free, and really what that's giving you is access to the Mindmap library. Now we'll look at that in just a moment, but what that really means is you can find mind maps created by other people in our Mindmap library. You can download those onto your computer and you can start to work with them, edit them, change them, update them. And similarly, you can also share your own mind maps on biggerplate.com. You can upload your mind map files to our library for other people to see and for other people to download. And again, I'll show you in a moment just how that works. The other kind of membership we've got, which is our sort of upgraded membership, is our Pro membership. That costs just $29.99 per year. As it says here, lots of extra stuff. I'll go into that in a moment, but really the core purpose of that is this is really for people who want to sort of get a little bit more out of mind mapping. They want to understand really how they can use these tools and techniques on a day-to-day basis. We've got loads of great content in our Pro for our Pro members that will help them to do that. So firstly, let's just talk about the Mindmap Library. That's really the heart of Biggerplate. And to put it really simply, you've got sort of core functions are to search or explore the library, to download mind maps, download mind maps from the library, upload your own maps to the library for others, and therefore let's go and have a look and just see how that's all going to work. So I'm just going to come out of this mind map for a second. I'm going to just pop open the Biggerplate website, and you'll see that coming up just here. And hopefully for those of you on the call, this will look familiar because you've obviously discovered us and you're on this webinar. I'm guessing most of you are relatively new or new members of Biggerplate. So the key thing to just note here is I'm already logged in. You can see it says Liam Hughes logged in. That's my Biggerplate username. So I can do all of the usual things. I can go to my account and sort out all those kind of things. But really what I just want to show you is the basic downloading and searching for mind maps, and then how to upload a mind map. So when you're on the home page here, we can do a quick search if we wanted to. So let's say I want to search for what's quite topical at the moment. I can't think, but let's think Shakespeare perhaps. And I might Google, there you go, search rather, Shakespeare on Biggerplate. And you'll see what we've got here is 38 mind maps that the site has found to do with Shakespeare. Now you can see here we've got a title, we've got a short description, and then we've got a little bit more information showing us how many times that mind map has been viewed, how many times it's been downloaded, and how many sort of likes that's had from our community. So if we just look for maybe a map that we think might be interesting, I've got Mind Manager open on my computer at the moment. So what I might want to do with these search results is filter and say, can I just see Mind Manager maps about Shakespeare? So you see I've got a list here. These are all of the formats that the search results have found. And I just want to see any Mind Manager maps to do with Shakespeare. Not quite sure what this is going to give me, but let's see. So we can say apply a filter there. And we can see that somebody here has created a map about Shakespeare and poetic text. So let's take a quick look. Over 4,000 views, 84 downloads, looks like a good map. So I might just click the little like button there. But really what I want to do is download this map. And you can see here, it just says download for Mind Manager. Now I'll need to be a registered member of Biggerplate in order to be able to download this file. But again, that's the free part of Biggerplate. Basic membership will enable you to download this file. So let's just download that for a second. You'll see your file is downloading. If I just pop down here, I should be able to open that up, and here it is. So I've just quickly there found a random mind map from Biggerplate, and I've found some interesting information about the world of William Shakespeare. Don't quite know why that's in my mind, but the important thing is here is you're not just getting a picture of a mind map, you're actually getting a working file, which means you can start to add your own notes, your own ideas into the map. And I think this is French, that's why it's giving me French information. So you can just start to add information, or of course you could remove things. You might think, actually, I don't need this piece of information, or maybe I don't think, or maybe I think I want to have this over here. You might want to change the look and feel of the mind map. But all we're doing here is really pulling off a great starting point for something else. So that's how we might download a map. And again, if we just pop back to the website, there's other ways you might find content of interest. You might go into categories. So if you say up here, you can see mind maps. We could say, let's have a look at the popular mind maps. This is the content that's been downloaded the most or liked the most. And you can see you've got mind maps here. This one's been downloaded 19,000 times. The same principle applies. We could click into that mind map. We could hit download, and we can pull it onto our computer and start to work with it. So there's different ways you can find content on the website. You can use the search, or you can just browse around, and we try to put different mind maps in front of you, so featured mind maps will change pretty regularly and show different things depending on what we're sort of focusing on at the moment. Popular mind maps, you can see what other people like. So that's downloading mind maps and finding mind maps. Happy to answer any questions anybody's got about that process. But what if we wanted to add our own mind map to the website? Well, let's take this welcome webinar mind map. Let's just save that as an example. Just put that onto my computer desktop, wherever that's gone. There it is. Let's just save that to my desktop, and we can just illustrate the upload process quite nice and easily. So again, with a basic free membership at Biggerplate, what I can do is actually upload my own mind maps to the website. There's lots of different places. You should see the upload button in sort of all sorts of areas. You see it here over to the right top right hand side. So I can say upload a mind map. And just like adding a photo to Facebook or a video to YouTube, all you're doing here is selecting the file that you want to make public on Biggerplate. You can see down the right hand side here the different file formats that you can share on Biggerplate. Now again, for those of you who are new to mind mapping in the world of mind mapping software, it can sometimes be a bit confusing that there are lots of different mind mapping software programs and lots of different file formats. Now Biggerplate supports I think 11 or 12 of those at the moment. We're always trying to add more. If there's good software out there, we want to make sure people can share that content. But just you've got to make sure your file is in one of these formats that is supported on the website. So if we say select a mind map to upload, this is then just going to show me my computer contents. And again, there's our welcome webinar mind map. I can say let's upload that. That's gone nice and quickly. So it says your file was successfully uploaded, but we need to do just a little bit more. We need to add a title. Now again, the website has already picked out a title. It's using the content within the mind map to create a title. So I might just add that and say welcome webinar upload demo. And I just need to add a little description here. Used this mind map to demonstrate map uploading on Biggerplate. Now down here we've got your kind of tags. Again, it says keywords, key phrases. I should probably say tags. And what you want to do here is just use a few keywords that are going to help our website to find your mind map. So make sure it's tagged with some useful information that's going to help other people find that content. So again, for this example, I might just say new members, Lee and Hughes. I don't quite know, but just add a few tags, and that feeds the search function of Biggerplate and will help it to find your map. You then want to give it a language and then choose a category. I'll just put this into the general category of mind mapping. You'll see we've got lots of other categories here in business, education, and sort of general. And again, that's just going to help other people find mind maps through different ways. You've got copyright options down here, and depending on which options you choose, you've got sort of different possibilities. If you want to use Creative Commons, if you're familiar with that, I'm just going to say for the minute, let's go all rights reserved and say save and publish. And there we go. Your mind map has been added to the Biggerplate library. So here's a few other things you might want to do once you've uploaded a mind map. Well, you might want to tell some other people about it. Tell them you've just shared your first mind map or your 100th mind map on biggerplate.com. Share it on Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, Pinterest, whatever platforms you use. So just trying to make that nice and easy for you, or you might want to go straight away and upload your next mind map. But importantly, if we go to new mind maps under this heading, you'll see hopefully there's our welcome webinar, and it's now available for the world on biggerplate.com. And just like before, if somebody wanted to, they could come and download this mind map and view it and make use of it if they so choose. So that is our demonstration there of the upload, download, search and exploring of the Mindmap library. Again, if you have any questions about the library and how this works, please feel free to post them in the questions. I can see we've got a few people posting a little question in there already, so that's great. So I'll pick those up just when we come to the end of the presentation here. So the heart of Biggerplate is the mind maps. What else have we got? Well, I talked earlier about the two types of membership, and when we look at pro membership, there's quite a lot of extra things to consider here. So what most people will tell us they join pro to access is the webinar content. So if you go to biggerplate.com/pro, you'll see we've got a lot of content. I'm just going to look at that briefly in a moment. So webinar-wise, we've got what we call practitioner-led learning. We have guest speakers from around the world who are using mind mapping in their day-to-day world. Now, that might be a teacher teaching in a school who uses mind mapping for lesson planning. It could be a project manager who's using software to plan complex projects. It could be executive coaches. It could be any sort of different topic. Biggerplate is 100% focused on how to make practical use out of mind mapping tools and techniques. So our webinars have fantastic guest speakers from all over our community who share how they use mind mapping in their day-to-day work, using lots of different software products, and really it's going to be very practitioner-led learning. It's practical day-to-day stuff. Those webinars are available live and on demand. Obviously, we cover a lot of time zones at Biggerplate, so sometimes you're not going to be able to join the live webinar unless you want to get up really late at night. So we've got live webinars that you can join in person and write messages and questions for the speakers, or of course you can watch those back on demand if in your own time, at your own speed, if you are a Biggerplate Pro member. We'll look at webinars in just a second. So secondly, sort of tutorials is another key part of the Pro membership. This is in-depth software series. So we're looking at Mind Manager at the moment. So in the Pro section, you'll be able to find a Mind Manager for personal productivity. And that's going to be a set of tutorials that are going to help you use Mind Manager as an example to really get the most out of your sort of personal organization and take control of that productivity. And importantly, with our Pro tutorial series, there's new content being added all the time. So if you look in some section of the Pro tutorials and you can't see what you're quite looking for yet, maybe send us an email, tell us what you'd like to see. But importantly, there will be new content being added all the time. So Pro members are constantly getting more content for their money. So the value of their $29 membership is in theory going up all the time. We also have an image library within the Pro membership, and again, that's just a nice feature that we discovered a long time ago, people quite like. I'll show you how that works in a second. Importantly, for those of you who are maybe new to mind mapping and starting to explore the world of mind mapping software, it's worth noting that Pro members actually get some really great discounts on some of the most popular mind mapping software out there. So if you're yet to make your investment in mind mapping software, it might be worth making a small investment in Biggerplate Pro so you can get a bigger saving on your software purchase. Just food for thought there. Additional features really are for your own visibility, particularly if you're very enthusiastic about mind mapping. You've got the option to not only add your links and information to your profile, but also you can add your own mind mapping videos. If you have a YouTube channel, you can add some content onto your Biggerplate profile and share those videos with our community. And if you're maybe a mind map trainer or you're hosting webinars to do with mind mapping, you can also add those events to our global calendar. So again, increasing the visibility for your mind mapping activities as well. Those last few features maybe a little bit more for the mind mapping enthusiasts, but for the rest of you who are just trying to learn and improve your mind mapping skills and knowledge, this sort of setup here is probably where you're going to be most interested. So let's take a very quick look then at Biggerplate Pro. Again, if I come back to the website here, you'll see in the main menu, we've got Pro just here, but you can also sort of get to it different ways. You could go in through the webinars door, but let's just go across to look at the Pro section of Biggerplate and just explore that a little bit more. So the website knows I'm already a Pro member. It says, Liam, you're a Pro member, but if you weren't yet a Pro member, you'll still be able to see all of this content because it's basically explaining what Pro membership is. So here are the key benefits, as it says: webinars, special offers, tutorials, icons, the webinar archive, sharing videos, sharing events, and extended profile. Now, I'm not going to look at each of these in turn, but I'm going to look at just a couple of the ones that I think and know are most sort of relevant for people. So I'm just going to say, let's have a look at the webinars, and let's take a quick look here. So this is the live calendar of Pro webinars at Biggerplate. So we've got 3 really good webinars coming up for our Pro members. Again, you'd have to have Pro membership to be able to view these webinars and join these webinars live. So we've got Mind Mapping for Online Freelancers on the 12th of June. We've got Overcoming Meeting Challenges with Mindmaps on the 23rd. And we've got Business Planning with Mindmaps on the 6th. So 3 great webinars. We usually actually have more. So there's normally about sort of 2 per month. Webinar wise, and you'll see a couple more about to be sort of added to the calendar. So there's always new interesting content from new speakers coming into the webinar calendar. If I scroll down, we start to get into where there's a huge amount of value for Pro members, and that's in the on-demand webinars, where actually we've got somewhere in the region of 60 to 70 recorded webinars here from the last 2-3 years. So you see there's a huge range of content talking about mind mapping for students, mind mapping for team alignment, project management, another one for teachers and students, mind mapping in construction. I mean, really, we're trying to cover all sorts of topics here. So whatever your area of interest or your job or your work or your life is focused on, the chances are we've covered at least one webinar that'll be about that topic, and we'll show you how mind mapping tools and techniques can really be used to great effect there. Again, if you're a pro member, you'll just be able to click into these areas. This one is about mind mapping in medicine. You'll be able to click play, and a video will start to play there. I won't do it right now. So webinars and both the live and the on-demand webinars are really probably the core feature of pro membership, and it's a great way of improving your own mind map learning and understanding. So that's probably what most people tell us they upgrade to pro in order to access. So other things just worth noting, I said about the tutorials, so let's just have a quick look at a pro tutorial series. You'll see we've got pro tutorials here. Again, you won't be able to access this unless you have a pro membership, which is at $29 per year. But if you come in here, you'll see we've got, for example, My Manager, we've got My Manager for personal productivity, and then we've got a webinar, a tutorial series here that's going to show you how to make use of My Manager to improve your productivity. And again, you'll see the tutorial series is down here, and new content is being added all the time. So soon you'll have Mind Manager for lots of different functions, as well as obviously every other mind mapping software as well. So that's a quick look at tutorials. Again, loads of content in there. I mentioned the image library. Let's just take one quick look at that. And this is where you can see you might want to add some interesting images into your mind mapping software to make them a little bit more visually interesting. The image library that comes with some of the mind mapping software programs is not that great. So we've created a little library here. I think it's about 100 images, just some other sort of images that you might find useful to pull into your mind map. And again, I can just say download that image, and there it is, and I can then pull that into my mind maps if I so choose, and make use of it that way. So the image library is a really nice little resource that people seem to quite like as part of their pro membership. So again, a nice little bonus for your mind maps there. And then let's finish on special offers for pro members. So if you're a pro member, you've got some really great special offers here. And again, we add new offers pretty regularly. We work with all of the leading software companies, so they give great discounts to our pro members because they know that's a good thing to be doing. So you've got some really great savings at the moment on Mind Manager, MindMeister, iMindmap, and you can also save 25% on Biggerplate certification if that's something that's of interest. So if you are already using mind mapping software and feeling pretty capable, you might want to consider getting Biggerplate certified, which is independent validation of your mind mapping skills. So some great offers there if you're a pro member, and well worth a look. But I think that's probably all we need to look at for the time being in terms of pro membership. But again, very happy to answer any questions there. So last and not least, but probably the shortest thing I'm going to cover today, because it's a little bit more specific, is training. So Biggerplate is the home of mind mapping templates, tutorials, training. Hopefully you've seen quite a bit already that shows you the templates world, the Mindmap Library, the tutorials, which is part of Pro, and now we're just going to look very quickly at training. Now, some of you on the call might be working in organizations who are either exploring the world of mind mapping software. Maybe your organization is thinking of investing in mind mapping software. The important thing to note with Biggerplate training is, again, we don't make or sell mind mapping software. That means our training is software neutral. What that really means is if you hire us to come and do some training for your team remotely or in a sort of workshop setting, you're not going to get a software sales pitch. What that means is it's really helpful if you don't have software. We can show you all of the benefits and possibilities of mind mapping tools and techniques, but we're not going to try and sell you software because we don't. So if you don't have any software yet, that can mean it's a really great workshop because there's no need to have software. Maybe you've just purchased software. We can then tailor our training to whichever software you've got. As I say, we work with all of the best software options there are. So if your company has just bought a certain software, we can then make our training tailored to that. Or if you're just exploring the world of mind mapping, a short workshop with Biggerplate can really help to sort of energize people around the possibilities And also we can probably answer some of those questions about which software might be most relevant for your organization. So we're here to help in that regard. And in terms of what we deliver, we do online training delivery, which is obviously great for remote teams. If you've got a group that's maybe spread out in different locations or perhaps even different time zones, our online training, which again, private webinars, are really great ways to reach lots of people pretty cost effectively. And again, we do that for organizations all around the world. Again, that's the beauty of the era we're in. Technology enables us to deliver training to organizations all over the place. However, sometimes people want us to come and run sessions in person in their organizations, half day, full day workshops with Biggerplate, really very interactive, very practically focused. And obviously you can really get people energized if you're in that workshop setting. We can do a lot of interesting things to help people understand where mind mapping will fit with their particular type of work. So again, it's going to be very practical, very interactive. And as I've said before, we do deliver these type of workshops all over the world. We are very active in lots of different places, even though we're a very small business. So any questions on training, again, happy to answer that, but I know that's normally a little bit of a smaller use for people joining these calls. There's not normally so many people joining this because they're interested in training, but again, I'm very happy to answer any questions. And that pretty much wraps us up in terms of a welcome webinar. I am hoping that's given you a very quick run through of the world of Biggerplate, what you might be able to get out of us as a resource, and how we might be able to help you. So I'm really happy to answer any questions that have come in. I'm just going to pop open the questions panel here and see. So I've got a question here, which is which software is on screen? The answer there is Mind Manager. That is a software from a company called MindJet. So people sometimes will use the labels interchangeably, MindJet, Mind Manager. It's very good software. One of the formats we support on Biggerplate. We change which software we use to make these presentations, but this week we're using Mind Manager. So very good software, really solid, well worth the look as one of the many options that we think is strong and supported on Biggerplate, and a great company that we work with. So this is Mind Manager. Again, we know people can get a bit confused with all the different names of software because most of them are called Mind something or Map something. Yeah, if you get confused about names, just send us an email and we'll try and help you figure out which one's which. Just looking again at my questions. Accepted formats. Yeah, so someone's just asking a question around which software formats are accepted on Biggerplate. I looked at it very quickly when we did the upload, but if I just pop back here to the home page, so we're at biggerplate.com here, and if we say scroll down a little bit, we'll see a couple of ways here. You can share mind maps in any of the following formats. Now, we haven't put their names in here just because it got a little bit cluttered, but you'll see here 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 different formats. That is Mind Manager, Xmind, MindMeister, iMindMap, iThoughts, MindGenius, Simple Mind, MindMapper, MindView, iMindQ, Concept Drawer, FreeMind. So you see this problem with which one's which and all the names sounding the same. But if you're already using any of those software products, you probably recognize the logos there and you know you can upload them. But if you're in any doubt, you can just go here to Software in the main menu, and this will show you which software products are supported on Biggerplate, and you'll be able to get a little bit more information about each of them if you so choose. So just while we're here, for example, if you wanted to go and find out about MindMeister, one of the formats you can share mind maps in here. Again, just a little bit of information from us, 600 maps in that format, 1,000+ users who are on Biggerplate. You've got some featured templates. Again, we've got some tutorials on show, and we've got some use cases and other information. So there's 12 different formats you can share and 12 different formats you can download. But if you wanted to at any point just get your head around the world of mind mapping software, you can always just come to software in this main menu, and really that's giving you a directory of software that we think is worth looking at. If a software product isn't on this list, I would suggest you need to just be a little bit cautious because it may not quite be up to the same standard as these ones that we have added, if you like. So I'm not going to try and give you the whole list again, but if you go to biggerplate.com/mind-mapping-software, you'll see all of the different formats that you can share your mind maps in. So just a couple of other questions. Where is Biggerplate? I assume that means where are we based? So Biggerplate is based in London, UK. But as I said already, we work worldwide. So the Biggerplate mind mapping community, which is about 170,000 members now, is a very, very global community. Probably our biggest, or definitely our biggest community region is America, the USA. The UK is second, and then sort of third, fourth, fifth is usually France, Canada. India is very big for us over the last couple of years. So Biggerplate as a company is based in London in the UK, but Biggerplate as a community is very much global, and we deliver our services as well to organizations all around the world. So wherever you're based, yes, we can do things with you remotely or in person as well, if that's something you're in need of. Another question there. Thank you for all the questions, by the way. Question around training for education. Yes, we do provide that. We do workshops for schools and universities. With the schools, we tend to, well, we only really focus on providing training for the teachers in terms of how to use mind mapping. We think teachers are much better placed to show their students how mind mapping can be used. So we are very happy to do workshops for students. We don't do as many of those anymore for school level anyway, simply because there's a lot to cover. And again, we think if we can help teachers understand mind mapping, they're going to be much more able to take that and sort of bring it into the classroom in a more meaningful way. But when you go up to sort of college, university level, that's really where I see mind mapping software being very, very powerful. Again, that's the origin of Biggerplate, was my university experience 10, 12, whatever years ago. So with universities, I think we are much more able to converse with students of that age to help them understand how these tools and techniques can help them. So again, if there's universities out there or colleges or whatever it might be that would like to introduce mind mapping to their students, again, please do get in touch. We'll be happy to try and help with that, and lots of different ways we can do it. Any other questions? I've got a couple of people saying software recommendations. We get asked this a lot. We don't really recommend any particular software without knowing what it is you're looking for. So that list that I was showing you earlier, biggerplate.com, if you click software, this list here, and again, if you click into each of these pages, you'll learn a little bit more about the software products themselves. And again, we don't have a particular agenda here. We're not trying to push any particular product. So when we talk with clients, customers, or our members, we're always trying to understand what it is they would like to achieve. And also, it's important to think about a couple of kind of key questions here. For example, are you Mac or PC? Because not all of these products are sort of equal on both platforms. It's also worth considering, are you looking for something that is desktop installed software, or are you looking for something that's cloud-based, browser-based, accessible from any machine? So there's quite a few different things to consider. We know that's why sometimes people will get a bit confused. So we would never recommend a software based just on the question of which one to recommend. We would always want to know just a little bit more about what you think you want to try and do. And then normally what we will try to do is actually give you a short list and say, well, we think maybe these 2 or 3 software products are the ones you should maybe go and explore a little bit more. Again, we don't sell them, we don't resell them, so there's no agenda for us to say to you, these ones sound like the most relevant propositions for what you're asking. So I hope that's not too unhelpful as an answer to software recommendations, but we get asked that a lot. Tell me which software to buy. Again, it's going to totally depend on what other tools you use, what you want to use mind mapping for, or what you think you want to use mind mapping for, And again, what sort of accessibility platforms are you sort of working with and going to want? Including, for example, mobile apps. Do you want mobiles, iPads, these kind of things? So lots to consider when you're choosing software, but it's not really that complicated, but we know it can be a bit confusing if you're new to it. So again, Biggerplate is here to help with impartial, independent advice. So if you want some help understanding the world of mind mapping software, that's what we're here to do. So I'm just going to check back on the questions here, and I think that is pretty much all we've got. So I think what I'm going to do then is probably suggest that's a good place for me to finish. I will say thank you to you all for joining. If you have any follow-up questions from the webinar, or just things you're struggling to understand or need help with about Biggerplate or mind mapping in general, then please feel free to contact us. We're very accessible. You just need to go to the contact page on our site. You'll find all of our details there, and we're very happy to help. We want you to get more out of mind mapping, so any way we can help you to do that, we'll be happy to do so. But that's it for now. Thank you for joining the webinar, and I hope I'll be hearing from some of you in different ways very, very shortly. Thank you very much.